Part 61. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Ching Qian. Chapter 602. Yin Yaonian's reaction was unexpected by the Yan family. Before coming, they naturally investigated Nianyan's family background. It is true that the Yin family is one of the three major evolutionary families, which is good, but it really is nothing in Free Continent. In particular, the Yin family does not even have a single combat type S-class evolver, and has long been left behind by the Lotbar family and the Kukaki family. In 30 years, no one from the Yin family has entered the inner courtyard, let alone successfully graduated. If it were Lotbar and Kukaki, the Yan family would naturally not throw out a card directly, but would choose to make friends. But the Yin family doesn't have such a big reputation. Butler Yan did not show any fear and said, "Mr. Yin, I know you are from the Yin family. Maybe you are used to living outside and don't understand the rules of the Free Continent. It doesn't matter. The Yan family can teach you. In addition, we also hope that you can know that the inner courtyard is not a place where everyone can stay. Your Yin family has nothing to do with the Eternal Continent. Your son's mortality rate can be said to be as high as 90%. If you accept the card, we can even make a friend. Networking is very scarce for your Yin family, right? The reason why the four major families are the four major families is because almost all direct members of the four major families can successfully graduate from the inner courtyard. This is inseparable from the foundation laid by the elders in the Eternal Continent, which allows senior NPCs who know each other to take more care of their juniors and pass it on from generation to generation. Of course, Huo Shiyun is an absolute exception. She is too ordinary, and her brain waves can't even withstand the eternity of low-level accounts. I told you, get out. Yin Jiannian finally raised his eyes, and I stood up hastily. Do you understand human language? Buzz. The majestic energy exploded, and the air stopped flowing in an instant and dissolved in an instant. In an instant, everyone in the Yan family except Ding Fan could no longer breathe. We only felt that the air in our lungs was evacuated at that moment, and there was no air period for us to draw. The head of the Yan family was so horrified that he uttered two words with great difficulty, S-level. I myself am only A-level, so I can certainly feel the suppression of me by Ding Fanian's bloodline. How is that possible? Does Yin Yao have S-class degenerates without combat type? It's only S-level, but it has nothing to do with space. Who is the top group of degenerates who know that space, time, and spiritual systems are the best? Ding Fan has never retreated to the Eternal Academy. How could he be so weak? Free Continent has always paid attention to the affairs of other small continents, so it has not paid too much attention to the tragedy of Yin Yao 70 years later. In addition, Ding Fan did not announce Ding Fan's return to the outside world. It is even more likely that the Yan family knew that Yin Yao had never been able to directly admit a peerless genius to the inner courtyard of Eternal College. The head of the Yan family broke out in hot sweat, and my breathing became easier. I yelled hysterically, "Shoot!" Bang! Bullets flew out. However, Yin Jiannian only glanced seriously and did not even move his body. The whole room was under my control. The gel-like air held those bullets in the air, allowing the weapons developed by the Intercontinental Research Institute to retreat even half an inch. Then, under Ding Fankin's extremely horrified gaze, those bullets were disintegrated. Empty shells fell to the ground. Thump, thump. The people brought by the Yan family leader fell to the ground one after another. Their faces had not turned purple, and they obviously fainted because they could not breathe. There was a lot of noise all around, and Master Yan's head was buzzing, and his cerebellum went blank. In Free Continent, aren't there still such weak degenerate abilities? The head of the Yan family no longer even had the thought of resisting, and had no time to take care of others. He used his remaining mobility to run in like crazy. Want to run away? Seeing this, Yin Jiannian smiled fiercely. You dare to come to the door, why are you running away now? Did you let them run away? Return. Yin Jiannian raised his hand, appeared in front of Master Yan's back at an extremely slow speed, and directly grabbed the front of my neck. The head of the Yan family let out a small cry, and with a bang, his legs went weak and he knelt on the ground. The Yin family finally lost control of the space, and the air stopped flowing again, but the head of the Yan family could still breathe. There was only fear on my face, and my eyes were staring, but I could still understand how things suddenly turned out like that. Yin Jiannian raised his head and asked in a serious voice, he said it again, he came to ask for a place in the inner courtyard of Eternal College. Whose intention did it have? Ding Fankin opened his mouth and every word came out. My whole body felt hot, and even my blood ran cold. When I met Yin Jiannian's extremely cold gaze, I stammered, Mr. Yin, you. At that moment, Master Yan finally realized that I had kicked him under the iron plate. But when we checked the information, we didn't find Yin Jiannian in Yin Yao's family tree. Could that be Yin Yao's secret weapon? Yin Jiannian's voice was hot, they can't touch you, but they can't touch your son, so let's try it now. I can definitely tolerate no one paying attention to Nianyan's head. Puff, more severe pain came, and the head of the Yan family suddenly spit out a mouthful of blood and passed out. After passing out, I heard no footsteps. The head of the Yan family struggled to remember, but his consciousness completely fell into white darkness. Naturally, Yin Jiannian heard it, and my body instantly tensed up, like a wild beast that was ready to go. The footsteps stopped. Uncle Yin Yujian probed his head. You saw the person underground, but you were not surprised at all. Didn't you disturb him to relax? Yin Jiannian restrained his breath, relaxed his body, nodded and said, it turns out to be Sister Yu. Yu Jian kicked the person on the ground, it's convenient for you, can you help me clean it up? Yin Jiannian nodded and smiled, this is troublesome for Sister Yu. It's trouble. Yu Jian clapped his hands, there are more people arrested this year, but your performance is lagging behind. It would be bad if the year-end report is not good enough. Sister Yu, Yin Jiannian frowned, those people claim to be the Yan family, and they seem to have mentioned the Huo family. The Yan family, Yu Jian pondered for a moment and shook his head anxiously, have you heard of it? This seems to be very important. As for the Huo family, Yu Jian comforted Yin Jiannian, the Huo family is just worried. Our young master is in your hands now. If he wants to be promoted, he has to rely on you. If I am obedient, you cannot demote me. Yin Jiannian. You just took him away. Yu Jian called the T18 investigator, and you smiled, Uncle Yin, you are familiar with me there. I am looking for you when I have nothing to do. I am afraid of causing trouble. The T18 search officer was very quick with his hands and feet. Before dragging the person away, he thoughtfully restored all the furniture to its original state and cleaned up the place. Yin Jiannian was silent as he looked at the very clean room. I was looking forward to thinking about all the people I fucking knew. On the other side, the Yan family. Outside the living room, Yan Yunping took a sip of tea and said with a smile, without the Huo family's guarantee, Guang He would have been able to withdraw from the inner courtyard that time. Yes, Butler Yan smiled, when Guang He retreats from the inner courtyard, He Xiaokong will not be able to take care of him. Yan Xiaokong is Yan Yunping's son. He successfully retreated into the inner courtyard at the beginning of this year. Once the two brothers have laid the foundation under the Eternal Continent, there will be no hope for the Yan family to be promoted to a small family. Yan Yunping said calmly, but I am afraid that the other party will be wise, so I have to be prepared. Brother is worried, you are not prepared. Butler Yan said, you invited 2 7-star players. We will find this Nianyan outside eternity so that I can successfully complete the assessment within the time limit. Get out of the game. Yan Yunping nodded, it's wrong. Huo Shiyun may not have much ability, but you are so favored that you respond to almost every request. After climbing Huo Shiyun, the good days of the Yan family also came. After a while, Butler Yan frowned. Why hasn't Butler come back after being gone for so long? He sent someone to see what's going on. The head guard responded and hurried up. Half an hour ago, I ran back in panic. The owner of the house, Sister Yunping, something happened. The housekeeper and we were taken away by people from T18. It is said that there was a fight, which affected the hotel's business. Fight? Butler Yan was stunned. The other party wants to fight you. Crazy. Are you vague about the status of the Huo family in Free Continent? The guard murmured, yes, but the person is not being imprisoned by T18. When did T18 become so arrogant? Do we want to overtake others and carry out the work of the Holy Light Judgment Office? Yan Yunping slammed the cup under the table. Yunping, he will continue to handle the affairs of the inner court. You go to T18 to ask for people. It's just an intelligence organization running rampant, and it's ordinary in Free Continent. Could it be that people who become T18 think that they are direct members of the 7 little families or disciples of the top of the cloud? I want to see why T18 took away the Yan family members. Yan Yunping left with a hot face. At that time, under Yu Xian's pressure, Huo Yangxing sent Sci-fi back to the hotel. Sci-fi was sensitively aware of a battle taking place outside. Before you learned what happened from Yinji Nian, you pinched your wrist and narrowed your fox eyes slightly. Uncle, he stayed there, you go home. Go home, Yinji Nian was stunned. What's wrong? Is there nothing easy? Are you worried about him going back alone? It's better to wait until then and leave together. During those years on the run, I had long since learned to be patient. What is my destiny, but I still don't have Ye Zhenmian, Nianyan and Sci-fi in front of me. For my family, I will endure anything. Unless the strength is too low to crush everything. But the reality is very cruel after all. Even the Huo family, one of the 7 small families, is under the control of the Holy Light Judgment Office, and one mountain is lower than the next. It's an urgent matter. You have something to do with it, Uncle Sci-fi said, either nervous or quick. Why don't you go complain to your master? My old man has been very busy recently. Give me some work to do. If so, I feel comfortable all over. Want to retreat to the inner court? Okay. This also depends on whether you have the ability to survive in the hands of the 10 kind-hearted NPCs. I've been a little stuck lately. I'll update you all after a while after I sort out the details. See you tomorrow. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 603. So far, there is no complete information on the top 10 vicious NPCs in the game database of Eternal. Because 99 out of 10 players will either not recognize each other at all or die the moment they meet them. In order to search for the information of the top 10 vicious NPCs, the Eternal Academy also sent several teams led by 6-star players, but unfortunately they went to kill each other. Therefore, only students who can survive under the 10 evil NPCs can get the graduation certificate of the inner courtyard. The higher the students on the Eternal ranking, the longer they will survive in the top 10 fierce lands. The Eternal 4 has set a record for over a month, which no one can surpass. Yin Yaonian was stunned for a moment, and then he realized that Sci-fi said that the master was in the Eternal continent. Sci-fi waved his hand. Uncle, if you have anything, you can find my assistant. She knows this place better than me. After all, she has been away from Liberty Continent for 4 years. This is a continent that is changing with each passing day, and countless changes will take place every day. Sci-fi picked up his bag, pushed open the door and left. Yin Yaonian was still sitting in the same place. He pressed the temple and let out a breath slowly. The impact of what happened today was too great for him, and he wanted to slow down. On the other side, the Yan family head has already rushed to T18 angrily. What's going on with your T18s? Why are you arresting people indiscriminately? Yan Patriarch said angrily. Have you forgotten that only the Holy Light adjudicates all law enforcement powers in Liberty Island? If you don't let people go, I will report it to the Holy Light Judgment Office. Yu Xian's hands were outside her mustache, and she was not threatened at all. I squinted at Sci-fi. Let's go and report it. Have you heard the name of their Yan family? He thought the Holy Light Judgment Office heard it. Sci-fi choked. My face was ashen, my anger was slow, and I said, isn't they qualified to arrest your Yan family? Slow down and let them go. Sorry, don't even think about going out if you leave the outside, Yu Xian said with a smile. That's your performance this year, who let their Yan family bump into your superior when they disturbed the public order. I'm worried that enough people will be arrested this year, and I will be compared with 0. It's a mistake to send more than a dozen people in the month. Sci-fi was trembling with anger. They. Although the Yan family is a medium-sized family, it is indeed the number one in the Free State, and their subordinates have no real power at all. The little family sees that they are under us, so we can only choose to please Huo Shiyun. But if Yan Xiaokang can successfully withdraw into the inner courtyard this year, the Yan family will still be abandoned by Huo Shiyun. It's a good way to go. Genyan Yuan lit a cigarette, still smiling. Don't let your officers catch their big braids again, otherwise their entire family will retreat. The Holy Light Judgment mainly focuses on the top forces and families in the Free Continent. How can they not have the time to manage the Yan family? Sci-Fu listened and said that the 8 low-level members of T18 were all S-class people, and the Yan family was basically an opponent in the fight. I can only leave with a livid face. The guard followed me with a high head. Patriarch, what are you doing now? When the inner court assessment begins, you can go to Big Sister Shiyun to come forward. Sci-Fu's eyes were heavy, then send Yun Ping a sentence before trying to find a way to kill that Nian Yan outside Eternal. So that I can become a vegetable. The special mode and sleep mode are linked to holographic games, and the account is permanently sealed, and the brain waves are damaged and become a vegetative state. Regardless of whether it is heavy or heavy, Nian Yan has a way to retire to the Eternal Academy again. That's not the price of provoking the Yan family. 8 hours ago, before Genyan Yuan retreated from the game cabin, his brain waves were successfully linked. Before you carefully selected a set of Vipassana for older children, you then jumped to find the ghost Genyan Yuan. Whether there is any lethality and threat on the inside surface, the players and NPCs have not paid attention at all. Roland retreated into the Ghost Valley with obstacles. At that time, the master of Giyan was making wine. Roland went down quickly. Master. Giyan's patriarch raised his eyebrows. Why, I hate pretending to be a big girl, and I changed into a new outfit today, and I've changed to pretending to be a bad boy. The next time I go to save people, I won't be seen in this costume. Roland shrugged. The big girl is also very personable. Hearing this, Genyan Yuan snorted lightly. Rebel, he should be glad that he came to you for the first time, otherwise you might have let him into the valley. Players change the perspective, and high-level NPCs will have no response. But in the eyes of a low-level NPC like Giyan's clan leader who is weak and his data is unique, there is no difference between him and you. Wrong. After all, the Eternal Little Land is not a fantasy world. As long as the cultivation base reaches a certain level, changing the appearance and moving mountains and seas are very nervous and special things. Master, you know that you are the best for you. Roland folded his hands together. You will also agree to your request, right? The Giyan patriarch suddenly lost a good premonition, and I became vigilant. Rebel, what does he want to do? No one wants to kill your brother, and is even going to make me lose my soul. Roland blinked. Master, he also knows that your cultivation is still recovering, so you can only ask your old man to take action. You're so cowardly. Goiyan's patriarch was furious. I'm begging with him, that kind of scum will definitely get it as a teacher. Dare to bully my apprentice's family, it's really courting death. Where are those people now? Goiyan's anger remained undisturbed. I immediately went to solve us for the teacher. Roland gave Nian Yian's coordinates to Guiyan's patriarch. That's the first time your brother came out to practice, so please trouble the master to deal with the people who have good intentions for me. There's a problem, Goiyan's patriarch responded uncomfortably. I raised my hand, and 2 wine jars flew into the air. With a bang, Roland grabbed it firmly. The wine brewed for the teacher cannot increase his cultivation, Guiyan's family master said. He can drink it and distribute it to his friends and family. Roland smelled, it smells so good. You want to get a drop out of your mouth to taste it, only to find it comes out. Goiyan said quickly and leisurely, don't waste your energy, the teacher has been banned, he can definitely drink. The ghost knows that my disobedient almost demolished my house before he drank the medicinal wine I brewed once. Genyan snorted aggrievedly, does this master have anything else for you? You can eat and drink. Snapped. Guiyan patriarch threw out a box. I said casually, there are some cakes outside, let him eat it. Roland decisively took all those things out of his luggage. After Goiyan left, he warned again, good disciple, he must not go to Moiwan recently. Moiwan, one of the 10 small fierce places. There is not a kind NPC guarding each fierce land. Moun is the lord of Moun, and he is also a demigod. Being soft-handed, Roland asked humbly, please give me some advice. Master Wei recently had a fight with this old ghost, Goiyan's family master said with a good air, I have a quirky temperament, a mild temper, and I hate swallowing big children. Master is afraid that I will benefit him. Roland nodded. You thought to yourself, your master is so embarrassed to say that others are good-natured, the sun is really coming out from the west. The most hateful thing is that after a few hundred years, you made a bet with that old ghost and lost to me, and I actually played his idea at this time. Goiyan's master became gentle, I know you will definitely accept a beautiful one. The male doll inherits the mantle, I will find the female doll, and then I will marry you, you bought. Roland. A few seconds ago, you hurriedly said, so if you lose, you will be sold. Cough cough. Goiyan's patriarch cleared his throat, worry, as long as the teacher denies that he does not exist, I don't want to be a teacher, let me and my apprentice be bachelors for the rest of our lives. Genyan looked at me coldly. Goiyan knew that he was wrong, and said less, the tomb of the gods has been very turbulent recently. Many people died. Whether his cultivation base has recovered, he is going. At this moment, Moun. Lord Moiwan stroked his beard and looked at the elderly woman behind his eyes with a smile, good disciple, why don't you have time to be a teacher today? Lord Gu stretched out his hand and dropped a piece on the chessboard with a cool voice, I want to trouble you with one thing. There is a problem, he said. No one wants to trouble your younger brother, so the trouble master is going to shock him. The Lord of Moiwan said in surprise, when did he have no younger brother? Guz Hizu said concisely, it used to be a family. Oh, Lord Moiwan's eyes lit up, he found a boy doll for him himself? Is that boy doll's family? Genyan nodded slightly. It's wrong or wrong, it's really a face for the teacher. Lord Moiwan nodded again and again, the teacher was afraid that he was alone in the past, so after accepting the apprentice, no one decided a marriage for him. The Lord of the Valley raised his eyes, it's settled. It's the apprentice of this old man in Gigo. Lord Moiwan hummed, I'm hiding it well, but you know that I don't have a boy doll to be an apprentice. The owner of the valley said lightly, yes. Naturally, that's his business, of course it depends on his own intentions. Lord Moiwan got up, come on, I'll give you the position, and go as a teacher. At this moment, it was not even 8 hours before the exam started. but the students all exit the game in sleep mode. 8th time in reality, 80 outside the game. Nian glanced at the real-time ranking and chose to stop and rest for a while. I listened to Roland's words very much, so I didn't show all my abilities, but just made sure that I could retire into the inner courtyard. Nearby, not a 7-man brigade was lurking in the bushes. The 7-person team was hired by Yan Yunping at a low price, and they were all 7-star players. One person said, "Boss, I'm on the order, just kill it. I'm only a 7-star, and there are fewer restrictions than you." The young man narrowed his eyes and nodded, go over." The 7 stood up. Just as we were about to go down quickly, a person appeared in the middle of the road. It was an amiable old man. Ching and His Majesty have no idea how many levels of engagement QWQ. It's time to drop each other's eyes and stare at each other. 2333. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 604. His clothes are also very simple, with a mink robe and a hat, no different from the ordinary fisherman who is rafting on the riverside. The old man smiled. "Young man, may I ask?" "What are you asking?" The young man was in a hurry to complete the task. His eyes were fierce. "Old man, get in the way and kill you." He doesn't have time to chat with ordinary NPCs now. These ordinary NPCs can't give players too many benefits, and each one is more troublesome. The old man hadn't said anything yet, when suddenly, there was a sound of thunder in a sunny day. At the same time, the sky was covered by a large area of darkness, and a terrifying atmosphere enveloped this small space. Head. The teeth of several 5-star players began to vibrate, and they were terrified. We won't trigger any mission, right?" The youth also paled in horror. "How is this going?" Ha, Ghost Valley, I didn't expect you to have such a day today." A loud laugh came from above. "What are you pretending to be, old, weak, or sick? Ask the old man to tell me, do it directly, I'm not afraid they won't listen." Boom. Another figure fell to the ground. The majestic energy exploded, and the gust of wind shattered the surrounding bushes. The visitor has a pair of black wings, his hair is dark red, very messy, and his image is even a little sloppy. But no one dared to underestimate him. Because at the moment he appeared, a red warning box popped up on the system panels of several 5-star players. Name, Lord of Demon Abyss. Race, Demigod. Grade: Battle method. Strength point. Skill: Security level, fatal. System remarks: it is said that the Lord of the Demon Abyss can eat an older child in one bite. It is a warm reminder that players are advised not to use clothes that are over 17 years old on the inside when they are far away from the Demon Abyss. Old Ghost. The smile of the master of the Ghost Valley disappeared, and the bucket hat and mink robe also turned into a gloomy white robe in an instant. My green eyes were extremely hot. "What are you doing out there?" "The old man can go wherever he wants, it has nothing to do with him," the Lord of Moiwan snorted. "Not yet, don't blame the old man for reminding him that the bet he made with the old man at that time has come to fruition." Ghost Yulukan was a little angry and jumped like thunder in an instant. "You bot, do you have any apprentices? Go to his spring and autumn dreams." The Lord of Moiwan laughed. "The old man is the one who believes, he just missed." There was a lot of noise around. The 7-star players froze in place, completely daring to move. We narrowed our eyes, our hands and feet were cold. We've never seen a battle like that. One of the 10 little kind NPCs, and the 10 8-star players are all opponents. There is no absolute chasm between the 7 stars and the 8 stars, and it is a gap that can be crossed. We are just mercenaries who do things with money. The Yan family gave us the money, and we took over the task. In particular, we all walked around the 10 little fierce. How did we suddenly meet the Lord of the Ghost Valley and the Lord of the Demon Abyss? What scares us even more is that we actually have a way to go online on our own initiative, so we can only wait outside. Buzz. At the same time, the monitoring room in the Eternal Student. The monitoring screen suddenly flashed frantically. Detected the appearance of a demigod-level NPC. Detected the appearance of a demigod-level NPC. Detected the appearance of a demigod-level NPC. The background setting of the game Eternal is a magical world. There are no gods outside the setting, but the gods have not fallen early. So the lowest level outside the game is not a demigod. Being able to become a demigod is bound to rank among the 10 little kind NPCs. After monitoring the screen, Nian Zhongren's expression changed instantly, too. I tapped a few times under the keyboard and immediately brought up the out-of-game screen. Lord of Ghost Valley, Lord of Demon Abyss, I was shocked, yes. According to the records, the Lord of Gigo and the Lord of Moiwan are mortal enemies, and they have a small battle every few years. But a few days later, the two of them fought each other and destroyed an entire mountain range in the east. Why did they fight again after only a few days? More importantly, it is very close to the small cities, only the middle index is low. Not to mention the NPCs among the 10 little ones, even the low-level NPCs like me would go out there to fight. Therefore, that part of the area will be excluded from the scope of the first admission assessment of the inner hospital. Ghost Yu Looking and Lord Moiwan both appeared. Could it be that something has changed in Eternal Xiaolu? That's a little thing that will affect Liberty Island. Nian Zhongren had no time to think about something, and left the monitoring room in a hurry, then went to the office of the law enforcement team. Under the monitoring screen, the picture continues. Ghost Yu Lookin was very patient. You are doing business. If you have time to care about him, he will get out. It's a coincidence, the old man also has to do business. Lord Moiwan snorted. It's a coincidence that he saw him being bullied, so he earned some face to come back. Ghost Yu Lookin was even more angry. Old ghost. Let the Lord of Moiwan earn face for me. That matter will be passed on to my apprentice. Where should my majesty go? Just choose it, dare to respect God. Lord Moiwan waved his hand casually. Let's disappear. Did the 7-star players even have a chance to speak, and disappeared forever from the eternal small land? Bang. The game cabin was opened, and the youth stumbled out and fell to the ground. He was expelled from the game by the Lord of Moiwan weak seeing, and the brainwave link was also forced to break. The young man's cerebellum was hit by a huge shock, and he didn't recover. But in fact, the Lord of Demon Abyss didn't make me feel any pain. Just in the blink of an eye, we were all wiped out. The young man was quiet for a while, but it was difficult for him to breathe a sigh of relief. I lay down and retreated from the game cabin again, wanting to retreat outside the game, but the brain waves were linked. My account has been permanently banned. That means that I have been able to log into Eternal in any way before. There is a way to retreat into the Eternal small continent, and sooner or later, you will be expelled from the free continent. Damn it, the young man slammed heavily on the table, his face ashen. I really had the bad luck of the day, and only then did I meet the Lord of Demon Abyss. For that part of the loss, I must get it back from the Yan family. Eternal continent. The Lord of Moiwan looked at the open space behind him and frowned. Who is he showing his face to? The Lord of Ghost Valley slanted at me. What's the matter, still want to fight? Yes. The Lord of Moiwan frowned even tighter. Why don't I have a feeling that these 7 people just died? But it is clear that the eternal Xyluxia has lost even our soul breath, and I am still not confident in my own strength. That's odd. Lord Moiwan rubbed his temples. Maybe it's just an illusion of mine. A fight is a fight, said the Lord of Moiwan, but it's agreed that whoever wins that time will bring his apprentice to the other party's side to meet. Ghost you look and was shocked by my shame. Is that all he takes advantage of? He said it was a fight. If he fought, you'll let everyone know that he lost to you tomorrow. How could you possibly lose to him? Hit him. 70 years ago, the Lord of Gigo and the Lord of Moiwan left that area, and Nian Yan finally breathed a sigh of relief. I ran into a fight between two kind-hearted NPCs while I was in the inner courtyard. Although it didn't affect me, it was enough to make one's heart skip a beat. Fortunately, did the two little gods pay attention to my big shrimp? Nian Yan took another look at the real-time ranking, and suddenly found that my ranking jumped from the 74th to the 1st in an instant. And when I figured out what was going on, the assessment time was up, and all the students were awakened by the invigilators. Nian Yan walked out of the game cabin in a daze, and when he saw that the final ranking announced that I was indeed number 1, his mind was confused. Did something happen that I knew? The ranking is based on the student's comprehensive performance in the eternal small land within those 8 days, and there is no systematic calculation method. I did everything for the first time, just watched two NPCs fight for 70 hours. The door of the examination room was suddenly slammed open. Vice Dean, it's not me. A mentor hurried over, pointed at Nian Yan, and said excitedly, the Lord of Gigo and the Lord of Moiwan are fighting only 7 meters away from me, but I'm safe and sound, not even a single injury. All of a sudden, the eyes of everyone looking at Nian Yan are the same. It actually survived in the hands of two NPCs. The vice president's eyes were cold. How did he do it? Nian Yan was silent for a moment, and I scratched my head. Luck, you can do everything. Yes, luck is also a part of strength. The vice president patted me on the shoulder. Guys, he would have known before that luck is not less important. Whether our Eternal Academy has good luck or not, only luck can make it difficult for him to get through in Eternal Little Lu. According to the regulations, the first place cannot choose a low-level tutor. The deputy dean checked Yan's information from the previous year. Speed, is Professor Lightning back? Let me come over tomorrow. The instructor responded and went up to prepare. The more the vice president looks at Nian Yan, the more satisfied he is. Come on, lads, let's talk. It is said that I will be able to obtain other information about the Lord of Moiwan and the Lord of Ghost Valley from Nian Yan. Over there, the Huo family. Yan Yunping is asking Huo Shiyun to help him go to T18 VIP, Sister Shiyun, it's really troublesome for him. When Guanghe retires from the inner courtyard, we must respect the elder Sister Shiyun. It's a big deal. Huo Shiyun waved his hand. It's really too much for us to do that. T18 can take advantage of the situation to suppress the Yan family, but in the face of the Huo family, it can only grow bigger. Huo Shiyun got up and said lightly, let's go. The assessment results from the Eternal Academy have also come out. I'll check it out later. Yan Yunping was overjoyed and followed Huo Shiyun. In the small hall, Huo Tianwen saw Huo Shiyun. Stop, what are you doing? Little brother. Huo Shiyun was still very afraid of your brother. Your friend's family was detained by T18 for a reason, you go ask. T18, Huo Tianwen suddenly felt that the name was not unfamiliar, and called to the kitchen. Yangxing, he just said that he changed his job. Where did he go? Huo Yangxing looked at Huo Shiyun fiercely. T18. Ask for a monthly ticket for the two masters, thank you. I'll add more to you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 605. The living room fell silent for a moment, and there was no sound at all. Huo Shiyun's footsteps stopped in place, her expression froze. After Huo Yangxing graduated from Eternal Academy at the age of 24, he rarely returned to Huo's house, and his whereabouts were very mysterious. Huo Shiyun originally thought that Huo Yangxing's behavior of not returning home would make the elders and Huo Tianwen dissatisfied, and thus disqualify him as the heir. Unexpectedly, Huo Yangxing still sits firmly in the first position in the family assessment in the past 2 years, unshakable. Huo Shiyun is jealous and hateful. It's not that she didn't rely on Mrs. Huo's doting on her 3 or 4 times, and gave Huo Yangxing eye drops. But how shrewd is Mrs. Huo to be able to sit in this position today? After being discovered once, Huo Shiyun escaped by selling her tears, and she never dared to think carefully after that. Oh, yes, Huo Tianwen finally remembered. He nodded. Who are you looking for in T18? Tell Yangxing. Huo Shiyun pursed her lower lip and forced a smile. I don't know what happened, Yunping. Why are your Yan family members arrested by T18? Her expression was weak, but her gaze towards Yan Yunping carried a strong warning. At the same time, Huo Yangxing's eyes also fell on Yan Yunping. He has been by Yu Xian's side for 5 or 6 years, and he has also learned how to restrain his aura. Don't say it, it's really good to be scary. Yan Yunping couldn't bear the pressure under Huo Yangxing, her legs softened, and she knelt on the ground with a thump. Your body is shaking, you want to speak, but you say a word. Huo Tianwen's thoughts suddenly turned around at the moment. How could the Huo family's little duo work in T18? With Huo Yangxing's ability, whether it is to go to the Holy Light Judgment or stay in the Eternal Academy as a tutor, this is more than enough. In Liberty Island, T18 is indeed a well-known intelligence organization. But in Liberty Continent, it is indeed ranked the next. Just like Ji Yun of Ji's family created the popular 3D game Oracle, but it is nothing in Liberty Island. Because the residents of Liberty Island have an eternal account. 3D games are nothing compared to holographic games. Any big family in Liberty Island is dozens of times larger than the Yu family. Therefore, no one wants to squeeze into Liberty Island, even if it is only to get a permanent residence. Born in the Huo family, Huo Shiyun has no innate sense of superiority. You can understand why Huo Yangxing gave up the opportunity to retreat to the Holy Light Judgment and went to a small place like T18? Crazy. But Huo Shiyun also knows that you have a way to help the Yan family's dignitaries. Huo Yan acts with integrity. If I find out about your abuse of the Huo family's name, you will suffer. Huo Yangxing saw something tricky, and glanced at Huo Shiyun lightly. Where did he make friends who are 8 or 7 in diplomacy? Yan Xing kneels down if he says anything, there is nothing in his heart. The tone of the last sentence suddenly dropped, like a thunder blasting in Huo Tianwen's ears. You screamed in fright, shook your body, and an extremely unpleasant smell escaped. Pang Xingming was so frightened that he became incontinent. To be the current owner of the 7 Little Clan, the highest requirement is to graduate from the inner courtyard of the Eternal Academy. Huo Yangxing is a person who licks blood under the tip of a knife, not to mention Huo Tianwen, the eldest sister of a medium-sized family. Even the head of a small family sees me. Huo Yangxing sneered, what a waste. Huo Tianwen was completely frightened, and you kowtowed, Mr. Huo, spare your life. Mr. Huo, spare your life. Huo Yangxing said lightly, I've cleaned up. After he was not guarded immediately, he dragged Huo Tianwen up. Huo Shiyun looked at Huo Yangxing again, only to feel that some terrifying beast was staring at you, and your body stopped shaking. It's been enough trouble in those few days, and it's time to leave the house for a month. Huo Yangxing lit a cigarette. Worry, he is thinking about going to intercede with his mother, and let you stay out of the house. It's all about going. Little brother, you. Huo Shiyun's expression instantly paled. Before you had time to say anything, the housekeeper took you out of the living room. The sound of falling locks and vases came from downstairs, mixed with Huo Shiyun's cries. Huo Yangxing looked indifferent. Dad, if you have time, let's do an appraisal. It's useless. I've done it more than a dozen times. Pang Xingming was also very annoyed. his grandmother had fetal gas when she was pregnant with you, and your cerebellar intelligence was also damaged. In the future, you will only be pampered and willful. In recent days, you have become more and more reasonable and vexatious. You should tell his grandma that you used to be so accustomed to you. Huo Yangxing said in a light voice, "What does it have to do with you, just don't bother you." Understood, he was born with a white face, and you dare to look at him and lean in. Pang Xingming remembered another thing, let him go to Eternal Xiaolu to pick up the tea of the ghost hand and heavenly doctor, has he picked it up? Huo Yangxing paused, is there any? What is he doing here? Huo Yangxing kicked me, go pick up tea, if you find it, Su will come back. Huo Yangxing. Really dad? I have no regrets about using that excuse. Huo Yangxing sighed and decided to go to Sci-fi to check his favorability, saying that he would definitely get another box of tea. The next day, Eternal Academy. The list of new students in the inner courtyard has not yet been announced. In order to protect the danger of the students and prevent us from being targeted by the revenge organization, we hid the information about the last 7. Nian Yian was under the key protection of the Eternal Academy, and the vice president even sent a member of the law enforcement team to follow me. The law enforcement team represents the 7th low-end combat power of the Eternal Academy and is also responsible for carrying out a series of security tasks in the Eternal Small Continent. At that time, in the teaching building, a figure suddenly appeared. It was a woman. Because its speed was too slow, the glass doors on both sides burst open. But passers-by were surprised by this. In Eternal Academy, such a thing is trivial, and it is necessary to pay attention to whether it has reached the level of bombing a building. Professor Lightning. Hello, Professor Lightning. The instructor and the students greeted the woman who looked very decadent. The woman seemed to be attentive, but she just responded casually and withdrew outside the vice president's office. Seeing me, the vice president smiled and said, Jesus, he's back. Lightning's real name is Jesus Hope. I put on a world-weary face, what kind of expression, you are on a mission in the eternal small land, if there is any trivial matter, you will go back. Yes, yes, no trivial matter, the vice dean pushed his glasses. This year, the inner courtyard has recruited a student. The ability of the degenerate is less than his. You want him to take me. Lightning is extremely indifferent, free. I kicked out the chair and got up to leave. The vice principal spoke in front of my back in a panic and said, I watched the Lord of the Demon Abyss and the Lord of the Ghost Valley fight for 70 hours under the Eternal Little Land, without any damage. Lightning turned back suddenly, his expression changed, really? That was detected by the monitoring system. The vice president pointed to the computer, the power of the Lord of the Demon Abyss and the Lord of the Ghost Valley is too small, there is a way to completely capture our figures, but he sees that the energy bar is not our fight. Energy generated. Lightning nodded, yes. That student is there. The vice dean pointed to another place. I stayed for 74 full years. It was luck, but in your line of work, luck is rarely less important than strength. Lightning resisted and took a deep breath. Where is the person? The vice president asked his assistant to invite Nian Yian over. Nian Yian just woke up, not yet sleepy. When my eyes were fully open, I was punched hard under the body. Lightning showed a little smile, the body is wrong, I can't learn from you. Ian, that's not Professor Lightning anymore, the vice dean said, I was not his mentor before. The academy knows that he is in a normal condition. He can't stay in the academy, but he must ensure that he does not have 10 hours a day. Practice outside the game. Nian Yian nodded, there is a problem. The academy will specially equip him with a new game cabin, and it will also give him exclusive equipment to facilitate his training. If there is no requirement, he will put forward it together. The vice president patted me on the shoulder, perform well and strive to be in the retired to the eternal list a year ago. Having said that, The vice president sighed heavily. It is only on the eternal list. When will the top talent like the Eternal Seven appear? I shook my head, took out another card and handed it to Nian Yin. That's the student card given to him by the college, and he can withdraw money at various banks. Is there a limit and a lower limit? But he is sure that he can pass the monthly assessment and needs to pay back 10 times. Before seeing the card, Nian Yin's eyes finally lit up. Thank you, Vice President. Associate Dean. Money is the most useful thing in our eyes, so why did the big man lose money? The vice principal said earnestly, Yin, he used to know the use of money, we still focus on strength. Yes, Nian Yin immediately retorted, your sister said that money is the most precious. The vice president said again. It turned out to be a family style, no wonder. Over there, before Huo Yangxing left from Huo's house, he went to find Yan Yunping. I glanced around, where's his girl? Yan Yunping poured a cup of tea and said in a calm voice, go back to filming. So busy, Huo Yangxing frowned, by the way, it's the same, it's the Yan family who wants a place in the inner court, and put their attention on his girl's younger brother. He also paid for a mercenary to make his girl's younger brother become a vegetable. That is really looking for iron kicks. Minesweeper is not that accurate. Pang Xingming raised his eyes, the Yan family. Huo Yangxing snorted, the platoon is the next number, if I owe him money. Really Yan Yunping's tone was cool, it can't disappear. Good morning. I will add more to you in the afternoon. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 606. These words made Huo Yangxing's heart tremble. It is true that there are hundreds of medium-sized families like the Yan family in Free Continent. But if you let a medium-sized family disappear in such an understatement, even a large family must consider it carefully. Yu Xian does have such ability. Just because the 8 major mineral veins are one of the main economic lifelines of Free Continent. Only Yu Xian has the key. Without the key, it is impossible to enter the mine. In this way, even if others want to pay attention to mine veins, they will not be able to do anything. Half of the forces in Free Continent owe Yu Xian money. As long as Yu Xian thinks about it, these forces can go bankrupt in one day. Huo Yangxing frowned, aren't you afraid of the trouble that the Holy Light Judgment will bring to you? They have been keeping a close eye on people recently, and there are people on the top of the clouds. The Yan family can't get into the eyes of the Holy Light Judgment Office, Yu Xian said lightly. Yes, Huo Yangxing said, but you have to be careful in everything. The revenge organization has failed to win over Qian several times, and you are already on their must-kill list. Yu Xian nodded slightly. Then I won't disturb you. Huo Yangxing stood up, I'm going to work. Oh, Yu Xian said calmly, go to work in T18. Huo Yangxing. He was a little embarrassed, Xian, anyway, T18 and Ling are doing the same thing. It's the same wherever I am. I went to T18 mainly to find out why her memory disappeared. No need to explain. Yu Xian's voice was clear and warm, his revolution has not yet succeeded, you understand very well. Yu Xian pursed her lips and tightened her upper jaw. Finally, she couldn't hold it back, if so, can he teach you? Apart from work-related matters, Yu Jian never talks to me about anything else. For so long, I felt that my presence was like that of a big bartender with no 4-pack ABS outside a bar. Jiaqinsha raised his eyebrows, but before he said anything, his cell phone rang. Fourth brother Si spoke in a serious tone through the receiver. You asked, will he come back with your uncle and us then? Well, let's go back together in a few days. Yan Yunping laughed loudly, when he is filming, he pays attention to his schedule and sleeps on time every day. He has to stay up late. Si responded one by one, you wait until he comes back. On the side, Yu Xian was lost in thought. I took out my phone and sent a message to Tsukimi. Go to bed early, staying up late will hurt your body. Don't go to the bar, you don't have 4-pack abs either. After waiting for a few minutes, there was no response. Uzion sent another sentence tentatively. That time a red exclamation mark popped up under the screen. I was deleted. Jiaqinshu. Why am I treated in the same way even though we use the same words? Uzion had an expression on her face, and decided to doubt Yan Yunping again. I was going to go home and ask the head of the Yan family for advice, and ask him how he deceived my mother. The other side. Huo Tianwen was thrown into Jia Chen's house by Yan Guang's guards. You were so frightened that you were in a hurry for 2 hours before you reluctantly returned to Yan's house with light steps. Before Jia Chen got the whole story from your mouth, he was a little shocked. Fortunately, Yan Guangzhou argued with us, otherwise he would have suffered. But that also means that we have a way to have a relationship with Yan Guang again. And among the other 8 small families, there are no daughters like Huo Shiyun for us to get in touch with. Huo Yangxing clasped his hands behind his back and sighed repeatedly. Jiachen, he was very satisfied. Mom, is he saying that Yan Guang can help you withdraw from the inner court? Now that the list has come out, you should withdraw. The requirements of the inner court are more stringent than those of the inner court, and everyone only has one chance to take the assessment. Huo Tianwen pursed his upper lip. You also thought that Master Yan Guang went to T18. Huo Shiyun is the person in charge of Jia Chen after all. No matter how favored Huo Shiyun is, she must obey the orders of Jia Chenshu and his son. Huo Jiahe's eyes flashed with a hint of sinisterness. If I had known, I should have dealt with this Nianyan after the assessment. It's too late to say anything now, Jia Chenshu sighed. He won't go to the Eternal Continent to practice. You can find a way to help him find some secret books. The Huo family was still not willing to accept it, but when things got to that point, that was all. I returned to my bedroom, retreated outside the game cabin, and logged into the game. Outside the living room. When Huo Tianwen was about to go back to rest, he heard an angry shout, Huo Tianwen. He caused several of your brothers to be killed by Lord Moiwan. You were all unable to log into eternity before. If they give you an explanation today, the Yan family will never be safe. The young man came back with a few other mercenaries. After I took a small step, I grabbed Huo Tianwen's collar and said through gritted teeth, if it were him, how could you have met the Lord of the Demonic Abyss and the Lord of the Ghost Valley? Huo Tianwen was so frightened that he completely forgot to reply. Huo Yangxing was shocked. What did he say? Lord of the Demon Abyss? Not the Lord of Ghost Valley yet? Are those the 10 kind-hearted NPCs who are famous on the list? Even the inner courtyard students of Eternal Academy dared to confront those 2 alone. Especially the Lord of Ghost Valley, whose evil reputation spread throughout Free Continent. What nonsense, the young man said enthusiastically. I will give you 100 million immediately, the currency of Free Continent, otherwise you will kill him today. Huo Tianwen panicked. Do you have 100 million? It's you who wants them to be killed. You. I can retreat to the Eternal Continent, so what do I have to be afraid of? The young man smiled sinisterly. If he has 100 million, I can just use his life to pay for it. Wait a minute, Huo Yangxing stopped him in time, and I laughed repeatedly. Not 100 million, please wait a moment, and you can have someone prepare it. Mercenaries are all desperados. If a young man can say that, he can also do it. No matter what, Jia Chenshu is my biological sister, so Huo Yangxing can just sit back and take it for granted. The young man snorted and let go of Jia Chenshu. A working capital of 100 million is a very small number for the Yan family. Huo Yangxing's heart was bleeding when he sent the young man away. He lost his wife and lost his troops. That was something neither Huo Yangxing nor Jia Chenshu expected. Huo Yangxing hated Tai Changgang. He used to be more careful in doing things. Look at him. He is really successful or failed. Huo Tianwen muttered, You are very embarrassed and suffering inside. Jiaqinshu continued to rebuke, but at that moment, the captain of the guard hurriedly ran back. Master! It's over. The family property has been sealed up. The head guard looked anxious. Even the villa must be handed over. Seize it, Huo Yangxing frowned. Who seizes it? I dare you. I walked out in small steps, and when I saw the young man in uniform outside the yard, my expression suddenly changed. Of course Huo Yangxing would recognize that uniform. It belonged to the Lord. Lord is the honorific title given to the owners of the 4 small mineral veins in Free Continent. That is how the matter. After a young man came down, he glanced with a cold gaze. Yan Tianyong, right? From now on, all the belongings of the Yan family will be taken back. In addition, they still owe the Lord 700 million. Either pay back or get out. From now on they can appear in free states. Huo Yangxing swayed and his face suddenly turned pale. I said in an anxious voice, isn't it time to pay back the debt? If we are asked to pay the debt now, will it cost our lives? This is nothing, my lord, said the young man. Smiled slightly. Of course, he must want to resist, my lord, and your daughter will help him bring the words. Since the Yan family owes too little money and is unable to repay it, your majesty has not yet reported this matter to T18. Jiaqinshu collapsed on the ground, hot sweat continuously flowing up his forehead. Rebel against the Lord? Even if I don't have the courage, I still have the ability. The young man said calmly, take it away and send us back to work on the sewing machine. At this moment, Jiaqin is practicing under the Eternal Continent, still confused about what happened in reality. I was not convinced in my heart, and still wanted to retire to the inner courtyard instead of Nianyan. But there was no good way, and he was cursing Nianyan all the way. Huo Jia, he is going to take on the mission to gain favor with the NPC. Am I qualified to contact low-level NPCs? I can only start with the highest level tasks. Huo Jia, he picked a suitable task and was about to set off. As soon as he turned around, I saw a big girl looking at me with a smile. It was obvious that he had no lethality and was very amiable, but Huo Jia, he felt an inexplicable chill in his heart. However, I didn't see the big girl's message. Just a passerby NPC. Jia Chen and Zhong snorted, looked at it, and walked around. But at that moment, a huge force came from behind, and my neck was grabbed. What followed was a whirlwind of chaos. When Huo Jia, his eyes returned to his daughter, I found that I was standing under a cliff. There are many white skulls under the cliff, which is terrifying. Above were the rough waves, and the cold air hit our faces. Huo Jia, he was so frightened that I screamed, what is he doing? Let him go. Although it is not included in the top 10 dangerous places, it is still very dangerous, and countless players have died there. Who is that big girl and why is she targeting me so much? Huo Jia, he wanted to go online immediately, but found that the online button turned gray. I've been banned from online. Only low-level players can do that. The Huo family and their subordinates have 7-star accounts, which were bought by the Yan family at a small price. Players who are lower level than me. 8 stars. Jiaqin, his expression suddenly changed. He. There are very few 8-star players, and a small minority are in the law enforcement teams of the Holy Light Judgment Office and Eternal Academy. How could I be targeted by 8-star players? The Huo family didn't have time to think, because my feet hadn't even left the ground yet. The gray of death enveloped me, and my nerves were on the verge of collapse at that moment. I said coherently, you villain. You villain, please forgive me. You have done everything, you know everything. Everything has been done. I fucking patted Jiaqin his face and smiled slightly. Does he want to retreat to the inner courtyard? You took him to delay adapting to the life in the inner courtyard. Well, isn't that cliff? It's an assessment place before leaving the hospital. You take him here to try it out. How's it going? Are you satisfied? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 607. Chapter 604. Master and Apprentice, the two sides meet. 3 more. With a boom, Yan Guanghe's brain went down. And the person in front of him was no longer a little boy, but an adult woman in black and a mask. What, want to replace my brother? I fucking looked at him with a light expression. I asked him to come from Liberty Island, not to let him be wronged. If you want to enter the inner courtyard, why don't you rely on your own strength to enter? Hearing this sentence, Yan Guanghe's lips trembled fiercely, and his face became even more bleak. You. His thoughts were completely unable to function, and his mind went blank. Nian Yan has a sister of a 6-star player? Then what is he doing in the inner courtyard? With such a background, it is obvious that he can be directly recommended to the inner courtyard. But the Yan family has already checked Nian Yan's information, and the Yan family's strength is really good, but no one has entered the inner courtyard for so many years. Without entering the inner courtyard, it is impossible to have a 6-star account. What exactly is going on? I've sent you up, I want to go down by myself. I fucking looked lazy. I'm not a student in the inner courtyard, but you can experience the assessment in the inner courtyard. Aren't you very happy? Yan Guanghe's calf trembled. I didn't. Oh, yes, the Yan family may be gone. I fucking smiled slightly. I wish you good luck. She let go of her hand. Yan Guanghe fell in response, and instantly fell into the turbulent water. What? The screams shattered the sky, and Yan Guanghe screamed and woke up suddenly from the game cabin. I didn't even hold it for 80 seconds, and I died outside the game, or suffocated to death. At this moment, Yan Guanghe is very glad that I have not retired from the inner courtyard. But when I found out that I could log into the game again, my face turned pale, and all my strength seemed to be drained. It's over, it's over. When Yan Guanghe was in a panic, the bedroom door was suddenly kicked open. Before I could react, I was pressed and carried up by a few years old. The Yan family and Si fucking were also brought under control. Nian Zhongren clapped his hands. Okay, close the team and send it to T18. I have no doubts in my mind. In the past, we had less cooperation with Zero. Why did the master suddenly choose T18? What is the difference between Zero Crossing and T18? Many people are speculating that the two will merge sooner or later. The Yan family was completely seized, and all the lost assets were sold off. Mom, Nian Yan me, I. Yan Guanghe looked stiff and his voice trembled. My sister is an 8-star player, have they found out? Si fucking was stunned and murmured, 8-star player? Yes, how could? Until now, you finally know that the one person who Oshiyunyi loves to pick is an existence that all 10 Yan families can provoke. And the Yan family ruined the whole future just because of temporary greed. Si fucking didn't have any thoughts, only the overwhelming remorse drowned out the thoughts outside your heart. The same moment. On the other side of Xiaoyang, Xioxia Empire. The Lord of the Valley got up from the game cabin, walked behind the window, and you looked up at the sky. It was late at night, and the sky was full of stars. You look at the brightest star, and behind your eyes, the appearance of yet turning the blues emerges. Sister, you haven't been able to protect others yet, the Lord of the Valley said heavily. He wants to love, you will take good care of yourself. You sit quietly by the window for a while and take out your phone. 2 minutes later, Yan Yunping sent the words good night. His heart was slightly hot, as if there were no feathers moving back and forth at the tip of his heart, and there was no indescribable joy. For the first time, your emotions can be driven by a person's words. That's the same as my feelings. You know, that's called love. Gao Pingqing touched his chin. You have finished studying the Heart Sutra of Love. As a science student, you have a perfect and well thought out plan. When Gao Pingqing comes back, you have to try it. You also replied with a good night and went back to the outside of the game cabin. Gui Yuzian has helped you. As a good apprentice, you must respect and honor my old man. At that time, eternal little land. Demon Abyss. The Lord of Demon Abyss returned to his residence beaming. Before meeting Gao Pingqing, I was in a better mood. Teacher, what he asked to do for the teacher has not been done for the teacher, and he has made a lot of money. Gao Pingqing raised his eyes. Thank you, master. A big thing, he, Gigo is too upright, you played a fool at the front and deliberately lost to me. Lord Moiwan snorted, he saw my face, it's all green. Yan Yunping raised her head and stroked the strings with her slender fingers. I said softly, you also told you that the bet between the 7 of you is related to you. The girl he doesn't like will naturally talk about marriage again. As a teacher, Lord Moiwan stroked his beard and smiled, but he must fight with the apprentices of Gigo to prove that the disciples taught by the teacher are the best. Weak. Yan Yunping raised her eyebrows and hurriedly said, okay. I haven't met an evenly matched opponent for a long time, and I'm just trying to see the abilities of Yuzian's disciple. Okay, let's go now. The Lord of Moiwan was beaming. You and Gigo are both old, and sooner or later you will have to go into hiding. The task of fighting in the past will be handed over to him. He will definitely win the other party, and he will definitely lose you. Moun's face. On the other side, Ghost Valley. Gui Yuzian threw a few wine jars in a sullen manner. Master, where did he go? Gu's Hizar raised his eyebrows. His expression is like eating 100 dead flies. Who else could deflate your eccentric master? Gui Yuzian slapped the table angrily and said angrily, it's all this old ghost from Moiwan, who used the trick to provoke you and me to fight. You were originally tied, but the old ghost actually lost to you at the very first moment. Unlucky. I have fought with the Lord of Moiwan for thousands of years, and I have never felt so frustrated. The master of the valley narrowed his fox eyes. Master is so angry, did they make a bet? Gui Yuzian was even more angry. The old ghost didn't look down on him, and whoever loses will take his apprentice to the opponent's territory. You must be on guard, but you still have it. The master of the valley snorted, this is to prevent you from being abducted. You go first, and you will come to see you in a short time. Before Gui Yuzian spoke, suddenly no white clouds spread down from the horizon. I stood up abruptly, and my voice came out from between my teeth, old ghost. He really doesn't want to waste any time. Gao Pingqing narrowed his eyes. Is the Lord of Demon Abyss coming? Ghost Valley. Sure enough, in the last second, the voice of Lord Moiwan came from Taniguchi. You brought your apprentice to see him, let his apprentice come out slowly. We have to fight even if we are married. Let's see which disciple we have trained is weaker. Slow down, slow down. The ghost Gao Pingqing was indeed agitated, and I said softly, this old man's apprentice is the weakest. It's a comparison, whoever is afraid of whoever. Hearing that sentence, Gao Pingqing's eyelids jumped and he said euphemistically, Master, your cultivation base. After all, you die once, and holographic games rely on the mental link of brainwave regression. Has your cultivation been restored outside? You don't know who the apprentice of Lord Moiwan is. But if you can deal with the NPC that is as difficult as your master, the Lord of Moiwan, it will be a character you want to love. I'm afraid, there is no master to support him. Gui Gao Pingqing laughed warmly. Go, good disciple, it's time to test his latest achievements. Poison has to poison the other party too. Lord of the Valley. You are just a powerful, poor, and innocent passerby. Gui Yuzian walked behind with a warm face. The Lord of the Valley can only follow. The appearance of the Lord of Demon Abyss made all creatures within 100 radius flee quickly. Gui Yuzian came out angrily, "Old ghost, he hates living in dark places, don't make your outside look like that." "Hey, that's all a big deal." The Lord of Demon Abyss was in a good mood. "Introduce him, that's your apprentice, how is it wrong?" Ghost Gao Pingqing glanced. "When I saw Yan Yunping's appearance, I also had a way to be ugly with my conscience, but I just snorted hotly, 'Be careful and careful.' What kind of horse loves tigers? Lord Moiwan has sharp eyes, is that eldest girl his apprentice? What are you hiding?" The Lord of the Valley covered his face with a hat with an expression, and even moved a tree to block his face. "The grudges of the older generation have nothing to do with you. Gigo, he lost and lost." Lord Moiwan suddenly laughed. "In terms of appearance, his apprentice's love lost, if he dared to see people." "Let his bullshit." Gui Yuzian snorted hotly and pulled Gao Pingqing. "Good boy, there are other people out there, don't hide your face, scare that old ghost to death." "His Majesty. Lord of Demon Abyss?" Asterisk. It's very clearly written, Eternal has 3 brainwave link modes, normal, sleep and abyss. The abyss mode is really dead, and the other 2 will become a vegetative state according to the degree of trauma at the time of death, or the account will be permanently banned. The lightest is temporarily unable to log in. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 608. Sci-fi was pulled to the front reluctantly, and her hat was taken off by the Lord of Ghost Valley. After the player logs into Eternal, the initial appearance is no different from himself. But 6-star players can change the appearance at will. In order to prevent unnecessary troubles, Sci-fi has never shown his true face. She rarely took off her disguise today, just to make the master of the Ghost Valley happy, who would have encountered such a thing. Sci-fi raised his head reluctantly. The girl's face was completely exposed in the air. Her brows and eyes are deep, beautiful, and a little thrilling, and she is full of aggressiveness. This is a kind of beauty that does not belong to the mundane world, as if a light illuminates the whole world. There was silence. Lord Moiwan's eyes widened. "I don't believe this, old man, this face must be fake." "What is fake? Don't start denying it just because you lost." The Lord of Ghost Valley snorted coldly. "Old ghost, I tell you, my apprentice is always the best looking." In his eyes, Sci-fi reshaped his body. Fortunately, he didn't make the appearance of a 6-year-old girl, otherwise he couldn't help but beat this traitor out. It's hard to raise him, and it's tiring to raise him again. Lord Moiwan couldn't refute, and even the more he looked at Sci-fi, the more he liked it. After a few seconds, he realized that he had been distracted, and immediately patted Yuzian on the shoulder. "Teacher, even if you look good, you must not be soft-hearted. The word liangziangziyu exists outside your dictionary," Lord Moiwan said firmly. "He wants you to be beautiful. If you also have the true biography of Gigo, poison skills are superb. If he is sloppy, if he is poisoned by you. As a teacher, you have been deceived by Gigo a few times. In the next battle, he will take care of everything. Okay, let's go." After the Lord of Moiwan finished his instructions, he saw the tall woman standing there and did not move. I felt strange in my heart, so I urged again, "Tutor, let him get down. The Lord of the Valley is still moving." I just looked at Suchinjio, and my eyes darkened little by little, until the bottom of the darkness was visible, and there was only a thick ink that melted and opened. "Old ghost, is his apprentice afraid?" Ghost Yin Yungzi said quickly. "It's better to just admit defeat, rather than losing too ugly." That time, it was the turn of the Lord of Moiwan to jump. "Nonsense." Yin Pingshen's eyes were dim, and he suddenly smiled. "So coincidentally, the apprentice of Lord Moiwan." The Lord of the Valley heard the gnashing of teeth outside your words. For the first time, I thought silently about how to answer that question. Ghost Yin Yungzi paused. They know each other. Suchinjiao smiled lightly. I know. Yin Pingsheng is warm and affectionate, I know. Lord of Demon Abyss. I suddenly looked at my apprentice, and when I saw the look in the eyes of the Lord of the Valley looking at Yin Pingsheng, I instantly understood something. For the first time, the Lord of Moiwan felt what is called the Seven Thunders. The girl under my apprentice's heart is that rude apprentice of Gigo. Master, you have nothing to talk to that young master. Yin Pingsheng went down in a hurry. You also reminisce with the younger generation of Lord Moiwan. Wait, disciple, I will. Before the ghost Yin Yungzi could finish his words, he watched as the master of the valley was dragged away by Yin Pingsheng in a kindly manner. I swallowed the words, listened to him, and fell into a mysterious silence. Aside, the Lord of Moiwan was dumbfounded. Over there, Yin Pingsheng pulled the master of the valley all the way to retreat from the mouth of the valley, and came to the lake in the center of the Ghost Valley. That was also the first time the Valley Lord had retreated into the Ghost Valley. I glanced around. It is a beautiful place with beautiful mountains and rivers, birds singing and flowers fragrant. Yin Pingsheng suddenly squatted up, pulled out the flower raised by Ghost Yin Yungzi, and smashed it at the woman. It's all his fault. Yin Pingsheng looked at me. If he had said something to his master, I would have brought him over so eagerly. Because if he agrees, I will come over if I do. The Lord of the Valley raised his head, sighed, and resignedly accepted his fate. Yes. I really wanted to fight against Ghost Yin Yungzi's apprentice and try the opponent's combat power to motivate myself. People have no rivals. Be prepared for danger. Otherwise, sooner or later you will die in peace. But Suchinjiao actually expected that Ghost Yin Yungzi's mysterious apprentice was by my side. 7 degrees. His Majesty Yin Huang never thought that I would fall down twice under that kind of thing. Suchinjiao's fox eyes narrowed, full of sex. What did he say to his master? You thought about my sneak attack on you outside the oracle. Guz Hiza thought for a moment, then smiled slightly. You said that you have admired Ghost Yin Yungzi for a long time, but you know that you are the opponent of the younger generation, and you can only play against my apprentice. Presumably my apprentice is also a dragon and a phoenix. My brows and eyes are gentle, reflected in the spring breeze and green water, forming a landscape of its own. Yin Pingsheng paused for a moment, and was very confident that you are a face control. Looking at my face, the anger was rising. You turned your head and threw a grass at me again. You are the believer. What should I do? I asked in a loud voice, with a slight smile. The girl will teach you. It is still the voice of clearing heat, and the tone is heavy, as usual. But it seems that no note is jumping under the apex of the heart, and it touches the deepest part with ease. In just a few seconds, the heart beats repeatedly. The white-hearted monster has made a sound attack on you again, cute. Yin Pingsheng's fist became hard. Guz Hiza saw that you were talking, and sighed again. It's your fault, you should have thought of it earlier. In addition to the 10 little kind NPCs, Goi Suchinjiao's poison skills are inferior. Poison will be medical. Only the Ghost Yin Yungzi can teach a genius doctor like the Ghost Hand and Heavenly Doctor. Yin Pingsheng snorted loudly. You are angry with him again. The moment you saw me, your thoughts were indeed not empty for a moment. That world is too big. Yin Pingsheng thought for a while, then took out 2 jars of wine from his luggage and threw them over. The Lord of the Valley caught it firmly. What is that? The wine your master made. He went to share with his brothers. Yin Pingsheng pushed me. Go out and leave you alone. In the valley, the Lord of Moiwan and the Ghost Yin Yungzi stared at each other, and both were as quiet as chickens. We have never imagined such a scene. In the end, Ghost Yin Yungzi broke the silence, and my voice was gloomy. What's the relationship between his apprentice and your good apprentice? Lord Moiwan rolled his eyes and smiled. Does he still understand? His apprentice will marry your apprentice sooner or later. Gigo, let's get married. As if stepping on a painful foot, Ghost Yin Yungzi jumped up. He is dreaming. The old man told him that it is possible. You are good at interfering in matters between the elders, Lord Moiwan said leisurely. The children and grandchildren have no children and grandchildren, so he just wants to beat the Mandarin ducks. I was in a good mood when I saw the Lord of the Valley walking out of the valley. The Lord of Moiwan immediately went down. Teacher, how is the development going? Has the time for marriage been set? The teacher has not thought of the auspicious time for him, and the dowry is ready, just waiting for that day. The master of the valley hummed, calmly forced, I was kicked out. Lord of Demon Abyss. Ghost Yin Yungzi suddenly laughed a little. Old ghost, he really lost, you beat him, but your apprentice won. I hummed a big tune and returned to the valley with my hands behind my back. After he left, he glanced at the master of the valley and snorted, but the eldest said, the appearance is wrong, the strength is wrong, and my good boy is also very suitable. At least in those few hundred years, have I seen a seventh young talent better than the Lord of the Valley. Ghost Yin Yungzi hurriedly returned to his residence. Suchinjiao is catching fish. Teacher, does he hate me? Ghost Yin Yungzi waved his little hand. If it's true, this master will help him tie me up and throw me under the bed or where else, he has the final say. Suchinjiao was choked and almost fell. Master, can you be so violent? Where is the violence? Ghost Yin Yungzi agreed, why talk when you can do something? Suchinjiao. It's that truth. You ponder the feasibility of that method. In those days, Suchinjiao officially returned to the light crew to continue filming. In 2 weeks, The Boys of the Town has not aired 4 episodes, and the ratings and coldness have only increased or decreased. There has never been such a low level of discussion as the 7th drama, a phenomenal drama that has never been before. Yin Pingsheng found out that the anti-reconnaissance methods you have learned are slowly hiding and losing fans. Chu Lingyuan saw that you were working very hard, so he reluctantly gave you a day off and let you go home to rest. At that time, the Yin family. The atmosphere was very strong, and the members of the direct line all rushed to the small hall. The guards supported each other and stepped back. Before they took a few steps, they all fell to the ground and passed out. What's the matter? Taxia Elder Yu Zion's expression changed. Poisoned. The 7th team encountered a revenge organization when they were out for action. The captain of the guard looked anxious. Our methods are cruel, and we were caught by our hearts. Although the poison is deadly, it is very tormenting. Suchinjiao made a decisive decision and immediately said, Yungzi, he will come and heal us. Fortunately, without Suchinjiao, we all lost our lives. No wonder the revenge organization always wanted to kill Si fucking. Si fucking nodded, you took 2 steps back and just squatted up. There were footsteps in the door, and Yin Pingsheng came back with Yin Yaonian. Si fucking's eyes flickered slightly, your hand was retracted, and he smiled, Elder Taxia, fucking can also heal, so let you try it. Yu Zion frowned, what? Hearing that sentence, everyone looked at Yin Pingsheng with a bit of surprise in their eyes. Does Suchinjiao actually know how to heal? It's true, you have seen with your own eyes that fucking's medical skills also alerted the guards of the Holy Light Judgment. Si fucking said, you think that since you are skilled in medicine, if you can detoxify. Yu Zion's brows furrowed even tighter, detoxification and medical skills are not the same, Yungzi, anyone can compare with him. Si fucking snorted, smiled, and then spoke again. You are about to give the guards retreat treatment, Yin Pingsheng is hurrying to go down, detoxification, right, you try it? Don't panic, we have to score 3. Ask for tickets for Ching Ching and His Majesty, the new version of Xiao, Xiao, and Xiang tickets are monthly tickets. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 609. Poison and medicine are indeed not the same concept. Being knowledgeable about medicine does not mean that you are also knowledgeable about poisons. Among medicine and poison, the Lord of Ghost Valley really prefers the latter. The Lord of Ghost Valley likes to make drugs, and she had been poisoned many times during the 3 years she worked for him. After successfully becoming a disciple, the Lord of Ghost Valley naturally taught her all the skills without reservation. It's just that because there are not as many medicinal materials in the real world as there are in the Eternal Continent, Sci-Fi has always found it troublesome to make poisons and has never used them. Yin Yongzi paused and seemed a little surprised. Are you really going to try? You want me to try it, don't you? Sci-Fi raised an eyebrow. Isn't this just to please you? Stop pretending, it's really ugly when you smile. Yin Yongzi's smile froze, anger boiling in his chest. But there was a good-natured smile on her face, and she took a few steps back. Okay, please. No, Yin Pingsheng said flatly, these guards are the elites of my Yin family, not ordinary guards. What if you can't save your life? Sci-Fi squatted down and said slowly, if I can't be saved, my uncle, brother and I will leave the Yin family voluntarily. How about that? Yin Pingsheng choked. Let Yin Yaonian and Nian Yin withdraw from the Yin family. This is absolutely not okay. Yin Pingsheng was speechless and could only watch the girl begin to detoxify several guards. Her hands were steady, her brows were calm, and her breathing was gentle from beginning to end. Only Yin Yongzi in the Yin family knows how to heal. The others can't understand Sci-Fi's operation and can only ask Sci-Fi questions. Yin Pingsheng, is your method correct? Does he also detoxify like that? Your hands are so slow. Wow, you used a silver needle. Sci-Fi shook his head. That's how you interpreted it? It seems like you understand what you are doing. As soon as those words came out, everyone's expressions changed. In the world of degenerates, except for a few lunatics doing experiments in the Alliance of Hearts laboratory, Zhou Xiangju's medical skills are the most superb. Sister Yun 11's detoxification method is completely the same as yours. Can it be cured? No one could help but say, if so, let Yin Pingsheng do it. You have no experience. Sister Fu Qing, he can't first see how Yin Pingsheng detoxifies and then learn from you. Sister Yun 11 had just finished the first injection. When you heard those words, your fox eyes curled up. What did he say? Who do you want to learn from? The man shrank for a moment before speaking again. Okay, Sister Yun 11 wiped her hands and stood up. What's the poison? You're still fine. They can save the rest by themselves. Uncle, let's go see Grandma. Zhou Xiangju's icy eyes scanned the surrounding area to see if anyone dared to move. Sci-Fi paused and said with a smile, fucking, if he knows how to detoxify, we can't tell him earlier. It is necessary to delay, and the guards dash. Your voice suddenly stopped, and the previous words were suddenly cut off. Because the blue and white under the body of the guard who received treatment disappeared at a speed visible to the naked eye, and his complexion gradually returned to normal. For a few seconds, I hadn't opened my eyes yet, and I didn't have the strength to hold onto the table and stand up. Sci-Fi suddenly opened her eyes, not in disbelief. For the degenerates, the Revenge Organization has studied a multi-specific poison that will harm special people and will only invade the degenerates, which makes the Alliance of Heart-Minded Persons very troubled. The laboratory has also been studying the poison produced by the Revenge Organization. How could Sister Yun 11 solve the problem in such a short period of time? The Valley Lord's pupils also shrank violently. I turned my head sharply, but Sister Yongzi hadn't retreated from Yin Yongzi yet. I laughed happily. Very good, very good. You, Senior Zhou Xiang, haven't done anything for you for so many years. Although Zhou Xiangju does not have the blood of a degenerate, you can get Zhou Xiang's key training if you can detoxify the Revenge Organization. Yun 11, rescue the remaining guards, Zhou Xiangju ordered. go and prepare some resources. They will have no grudges in the future, and now they are all at ease. Si fucking always knew that the Lord of the Valley was focused on profit, but he never expected that the Lord of the Valley would let you go further. You clenched your fists and smiled very reluctantly. Yes, Taxia Elder. You walk up to the other guards and finish treating us. Zhou Xiangju can't, and of course you can't either. Mrs Yan's residence. When she learned that Nian Yan had retired to the inner courtyard with first place results, Mrs Yan was filled with joy. Okay, Yan is really awesome. Ching ching, did he go to Eternal College? I want to go for the time being, Zhou Xiangju said lazily. Let my brother experience the pain of going to the inner courtyard first. Zhou Xiangju agreed with this, and I nodded and said, Yan needs less experience and practice. Ching ching, he has demonstrated his medical skills, and he is the first in the international joint examination, so he must be cautious. You know, Sister Yun 11 nodded. Uncle, he doesn't have any weapons he wants? You can't go to the Eternal Continent to help him find it? Yin Yongzi was stunned and laughed. Uncle is lacking everything. If he can find weapons, he can use them himself. I know that the weapons of Eternal Continent are not that valuable. The Tiankong Yun sword under Kukaki Minjia pushed you out of the top 10 of the Eternal ranking. The family was chatting and laughing, and suddenly there was a slow knock on the door. Yin Yongzi frowned. Back off. Sister Fu Qing, it's better. The housekeeper ran back in a panic. Before Sister Yun 11 detoxifies the poison, the conditions of the other guards are even better. Elder Taxia, please go there. What are you asking for? Yin Yongzi slammed the cup under the table. Did you dislike it just now? Did Si fucking have the lowest medical skills? Did you let Ching Ching learn from you? Why did you save me? Already. Uncle, the housekeeper is just here to convey a message. Sister Yun 11 stood up. Don't wait, you go with him. The housekeeper looked at you with great gratitude. Thank you very much, Sister fucking. I have not had much contact with Sister Yun 11, but I have already been leaning toward you in our several interactions. Si fucking seemed friendly, but in fact he was condescending. Outside the small hall, Si fucking stood aside calmly, with tears on her face. It was obvious that she had not cried for a long time. The Lord of the Valley is scolding you. What's wrong with him? Is that easy for him? Elder Taxia, you. Si fucking said from the bottom of his heart, you know. Okay, let him get out of the way. Zhou Xiangju also wanted to hear your explanation and waved his hand. Let Fu Qing handle it. Hearing those words, Si fucking's heart couldn't help but twitch, but he could only move away. Sister Yun 11's movements were still very slow, and within a few minutes, the remaining guards were all confused. Without any fear, the guards saluted Sister Yun 11 one after another. Thank you, Sister fucking. Thank you, Sister fucking. Sister Fu Qing is so amazing, but your medical skills are even lower than that of Sister Yun 11. It seems that the degenerate's ability is indeed omnipotent. Hey. Actually, Sister Yungzi is not a doctor, just because you are a degenerate of the healing system. Those sounds penetrated so hard that Si fucking felt like his heart was being eaten by ants, and it hurt like needles, making you gasp for air. You suddenly have no regrets about why you ask Sister Yun 11 to save people. According to your thoughts, Sister Yun 11 would either chill the people of Yinyao because of her heart, or she would kill the patient and be driven out of Yinyao. How could that happen? Suddenly took your place. The resentment in Si fucking's eyes almost turned into substance, as sharp as a knife. You take a deep breath, turn around and leave. Sister Yun 11's senses have always been sharp. You turned your head and smiled. With the ability of a degenerate, can he still save people? Zhou Xiangju's footsteps suddenly stopped, and a layer of hot sweat broke out on his back. Indeed. You can quickly find the cause of the disease by relying on your own ability to evolve. There are no difficult and complicated diseases that you can cure, but you completely understand the principles. In the medical field, it can be said that there is a cure for that kind of poison, but you can use your mind-centered ability to directly remove it. It's a pity that that assumption is true. I fucking pursed her upper lip, her expression grim. Your degenerate ability will disappear and will degenerate. Zhou Xiangju's eyebrows moved. Because of your heart? I wish him good luck. I fucking could understand the meaning of that sentence. You endured the unprecedented humiliation and returned to the room. The head of the personal guard observed the situation and said cautiously, "Sister, please don't take it too seriously." Little eldest sister, I fucking snails pinched the palm of his hand, and he couldn't bear it anymore. You said warmly, "I guess it won't be long before Sister Yungzi will replace you." Because he has no worries, Yin Yao has not announced the identities of Zhou Xiangju, Sister Yun 11 and Nian Yin to the public. When Yin was admitted to the inner court, I fucking could barely sit still. But when Sister Yun 11 showed medical skills that surpassed yours, I fucking was completely panicked. When will your degenerate ability be degenerated? If you go up like that, you still have no advantage. I fucking closed his eyes, exhaled hastily, and suddenly said, "Did a Marchioness of the Lotbar family also be poisoned by the revenge organization last year, and she is still paralyzed in bed?" The head guard was stunned. "Yes, what do you mean, little eldest sister?" I fucking finally showed a smile. It would be a good opportunity to reveal to us the news about Sister Yun 11's detoxification. Yin Yao allowed his direct descendants to kill each other, but if other families did it, it was none of your business. I fucking took a sip of tea with a calm expression. The Lotbar family has always been tough in style, and they knew that Sister Yun 11 could bear it. The captain of the guard understood and hurriedly took action. Very slowly, the Marquis of the Lotbar family got the news. I stood up suddenly. Can it really detoxify? Does it rely on the ability of a degenerate? The superior nodded. It's absolutely true. People like Zhou Xiang who were poisoned haven't recovered yet. Okay, the Marquis high-fived. I'll go to Yin Yao and ask you to come over and show their wife. The Marquise has been suffering from toxins for a long time, but I have searched all over the doctors, but no one can cure her. The Marquis wanted to go to Free Continent, but it was because I had no way. The superior hesitated. What if you are willing to do this? Are you willing? The Marquis frowned. If you are willing, I will tie you here. How can Yin Yao compare with you now? Yin Yungzi is good at picking up Kinking's vest. 2333. See you tomorrow. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 610. The history of Lotbar's fortune started from his career as a robber, and after so many years, he has continued to do so. It's just that the family also has strict rules and cannot do anything to ordinary people. Although Si fucking surname is Si, he is also a family member of Yin. Then he can take action and forcibly take Si fucking away. It's just a cure. He won't hurt Si fucking's life, and he will even send Si fucking back after the treatment is over. In this way, the Yin family can't pick out any mistakes. All in all, I want to see her person at 8 o'clock tomorrow night, the Marquis said toughly. I don't care how the person came, you can find your own way. The subordinates followed the Marquis and knew his style of conduct very well. He understood and went down to prepare. Yin family. In order to accompany MRS Yin, Si fucking stayed at Yin's house tonight. After Si fucking showed off his medical skills, Yin Pingsheng immediately reallocated resources and changed her to a larger yard. Si fucking received the photos correctly, but he did not listen to Yin Pingsheng's lectures. She was leaning back on the recliner, her phone in her other hand. The night breeze was blowing, cool and quiet. "Are you okay?" The man's cool voice came from the receiver, with a faint smile that easily tugged at the heartstrings. Just 3 words: "The heart is like dandelions scattered all over the ground, flying everywhere." "It's alright." I fucking blinked. "I saved a few guards from the family today, and they also gave me a few delicious fruits, which you can bring to him when you go back." But the snobbish eyes of the Yin family are annoying. "You want to ignore us?" "Not yet." Chai Fabo listened to what you said one by one. Was he impatient at all? The desire to share is a very important thing. If you are willing to share with me everyday bits and pieces, of course I am more interested in you. After Luodbo finished speaking, he also asked, "Fourth brother, how is he doing today?" Chai Fabo stood under the balcony, raised his head, and I said loudly, "The moonlight is beautiful tonight." "Ah," Lotba glanced at the white sky, "it's a pity, there is a moon over your side, it must be the group of people who have created too little pollution." I fucking paused. A few seconds ago, I hurriedly said, "Come back and see." "I'll go back tomorrow." Chai Fabo's voice suddenly became a little colder, "then ask you to settle the account. The call starts." I fucking closed his eyes, and after a while, I sighed without being funny. I just realized that I really don't have a heartbeat. That kind of slowness has almost happened in my life. In future generations, do I have any emotions in that regard, and my job is to be the emperor of Xioxia. From the moment I ascended the throne, I will dedicate my whole life to the Xioxia dynasty until my death. I am willing. I can open my eyes again, maybe in addition to looking at Xiaoxia 1700 years ago, I also want to truly be myself. I fucking stood quietly for a while, until a cloud covered the moon before I turned around and returned to the room. At 11 o'clock in the middle of the night, you see that the moonlight is beautiful tonight, and you always feel that at that time, he should be by your side. Early the next morning, while helping Lotba to pack, Mrsian said, "Those are good for health. He's too tired to film continuously, so he must take good care of himself." Lotba stared silently at the suitcase, which was half as low as you. "There is no concern that parents must fill up his box." "Miss fucking," the housekeeper knocked on the door. "No one came to you, it was sent by the Teeble family." "Okay, you go out and have a look." Chai Fabo wiped his hands and walked out. "But you don't know the person here." Your fox eyes narrowed. "Sister Si, he is good." Nian Zongren smiled rudely. "You were sent by the Marquis of Teeble. I heard that your medical skills are incompetent, and you can solve the poison of the revenge organization, so I hereby invite him to give the Marquis. Madam treats the disease, and the pay is good." Lotba hummed, "Which Marquis?" Nian Zongren was stunned for a moment, and said slowly, "Marquis Clavier Teeble." The name Lotba had indeed been heard before. "In the future, your main battlefield is in Liberty Island, and the only intersection with the 8 Little Degenerates family comes from Augilia Teeble and Deadwood Minjiao. In the future, you haven't even heard of Yin Baikan and Yin Yeonian, the 2 geniuses, and you will definitely talk about some big roles." "Wait a minute." Lotba took out his phone, found Augilia's avatar, poked it, and sent a sentence. "Does he know the Marquis of Clavier Chafable?" Augilia's reply was slow. "Clavier. I know, you are like me, and I want my son to marry you." Teeble is a small surname, with hundreds of direct line members and few branches. As long as the kinship is far enough, members of the family can also marry. Lotbar raised his eyebrows. "This is really popular. How did I come up with that idea?" Augilia was a genius that the Teeble family had not produced for several years, and under the eternal list in the inner court, she did not have the absolute right to choose a mate in Liberty Continent. "Who knows, maybe I think my son is number 1 in the sky." After chatting with Augilia, Lotbar raised his head again. "I'm embarrassed, I've heard of it, I'm going." Augilia is disgusted. "Of course you are towards your netizens." Nianzongren did think that you would agree, and frowned. Sister Si, that is a rare opportunity. As long as you can cure the Marquis can give you the desired reward and let him live in the degenerate world. Stand firm. Lotba snorted. You're still thinking that their Marquis will have less common belief, so it's not that low yet. You were too lazy to say anything, just waved. Housekeeper, see off the guest. The housekeeper took the next step. Sir, please. The old man came alone, and even if I wanted to take Lotba now, would I have the ability? I shook my head. Sister Si, he will regret it. Grandma, you're gone. Lotba listened in deaf ears. Your body is fine. Remember to drink the tea you gave you every day. Mrsien smiled and waved goodbye to you. Grandma understands. Before getting on the plane, it was 7 in the morning. Lotbo finished disguising and found a big shop to forage for food. You just took off your scarf when suddenly there was no voice calling you. Poor treasure. Lotbo turned around. King Bao, the boy was very excited. He waved at you with all his might, and ran behind you. King Bao, you saw him. Chai Fabo. Sure enough, in front of fiery fans, all disguise and investigation methods are useless. You are helpless, rubbing your head for the first time. How did you recognize it? The male body is stubborn, with his figure and eyes, his 7 senses are too unrecognizable, and he is the only one in the entertainment industry. Lotba. Unwise. You should be easy. The boy looked adored and stared. King Bao, you are his career fan, but he is so hateful, so you haven't become a full-time mother fan. Lotba smiled. You took off your mask, stretched out your hand, and patted the head of the boy who was half a head shorter than you, with a gentle voice. What makes him think you are hateful? The beauty crit at close range. The boy covered his heart. He is so hateful. Lotba was silent. Saved. King Bao, you invite him to dinner. The boy was beaming. I'm worried, you must wait for him to leave before posting on Weibo to show off. Lotba lazily said, yes, you still don't have the money for the meal, sit down. The boy sat up happily. Both were extravagant and ordered 2 bowls of noodles and 2 dishes. You go back to the crew first. Lotba put his finger under his lips. Don't make a sound. The boy nodded, yes. It's so good. Lotba's expression was sloppy. You stood up, just left the big store, and was blocked by a dozen people. All Western faces, all Kongwu is weak. King Bao, the boy also stood up, and you were very vigilant. Lotba is very popular now, there are many illegitimate meals, and white powder still exists. Because Man of the Town and Dragon Crossing are both in the ancient background of Xioxia, the splash in the West Xiaolu is not low. But Chai Fabo 9's name is enough to harvest hundreds of millions of fans. Are those blonde Chinese people crazy esports fans? Sister Si, isn't it? You haven't heard of your nickname? The middle-aged man in the lead nodded slightly towards Chai Fabo. The Marquis regrets that he invited him this morning, so you have to come in person now. Pick him up. When I said that, I glanced at the boy beside me and snorted heavily. Such a person. What is the need to care? Lotba's brows moved, and he didn't show any fear. You said in a light voice, you are free. It's important that Miss Si is not free. The middle-aged man didn't mean to answer. The important thing is that after 4 o'clock tonight, his people will appear in the Tebel family. I turned my head and said indifferently to the 2A-level people in front of me, I'll use it to tie you up in public, and I'll take you away with gentle movements. After the 2A-level degenerates went down. What are they doing? The boy looked up, your voice trembling with fear, but you still didn't move forward. If they dare to hurt Ching Ching, you will all let him go. The middle-aged man is basically a boy, just looking at Lotba. Lotba's hand held your shoulders and pulled you to him. Big friend, I'm still going to school, but I'm very courageous. Because of genetic repression, such people are born with an inexplicable fear of degenerates. but the boy did not run. It is precisely because of the absence of those fans that no matter how filthy the entertainment industry is, you will continue your acting career. Lotpa rolled up his sleeves and laughed quickly, want to see Zhang Ziyu's kung fu on the spot. The boy was stunned for a moment, but did not respond at all. What? Lotpa took off his hat, put it in your hands, and took off his undershirt. Look. Good morning. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 611. While the girl was still in a daze, Si took 2 steps back and turned back, and lifted a 1 meter 8 long iron bar in front of the store. In the play, the spear used by Zhang Ziyu is 2.4 meters long. SHH. The iron rod covered with red rust turned in Si hands, but there was no sense of abruptness at all, as if Zhang Ziyu was on the battlefield to kill the enemy. It was a very simple action. At this moment, the girl felt like she was on the scene, and her whole body's blood boiled. She couldn't help but opened her mouth wide and blurted out, "So handsome." Since the first episode, the fighting scenes in The Girl of the Town have been edited by major video bloggers into several short videos, which have been spread wildly on major social platforms. It is undeniable that Girls of the Town is the most superb drama in the past 10 years. Unlike Dragon Crossing, which has special effects in the later stage, Girls of the Town is a real fight, and there are no stand-ins. According to Ludeo, there is no need for martial arts guidance at all on the scene, it is all up to the actors to fight by themselves. Sometimes they hit their heads and the camera couldn't capture their movements. The girl did not expect that she would be able to see Si use the spear with her own eyes. This is the marksmanship passed down by the Zhang family, the Zhang family gun. It can be attacked and defended, both the virtual and the real, and the hardness and softness complement each other. Unstoppable when making moves, swift as wind when retreating. Rumor has it that as soon as the Jiang's gun is fired, the enemy has no way to escape. Through the holographic game Eternal, Si also stayed in the Great Xia dynasty for several years. Although the game system has made her a scholar who can't fight with her shoulders and hands, but she sees that Zhang Suanjin and Zhang Ziyu have practiced more, and she can also learn a lot of basic moves. You guys, Si took 2 steps forward and laughed lazily. Single duel or group fight? Si reaction was completely unexpected by the middle-aged and other evolutionaries. At present, among the 3 evolutionary families, the Lotbar family is indeed the strongest. Si does not have any evolutionary bloodline. Where did he have the courage to fight with them? Courage is commendable, the middle-aged man sneered. Unfortunately, in the face of absolute strength, you can't do it. Before he could finish speaking, Si moved. The long spear in her hand had already spun, and the spear shot out like a dragon, just like thunder. Before an evolutionary could react, he was smashed to the ground by the iron rod, and his brain was buzzing. The middle-aged man's expression changed, and he said sharply, "Catch her." The rest of the evolutionaries got the order and stepped forward one after another. Si eyes were still calm. She yanked her back foot, and suddenly jumped up a little on the ground. The iron rod in her hand stabbed the opponent's vital point. The evolutionary who became her target was startled and hurriedly dodged. The close combat skills of these evolutionaries are obviously far inferior to Si, and she easily blocked 7 or 8 by herself. Next, she did not directly overwhelm the other party, but, as she promised to the girl, practiced all the moves that appeared in the play Girls of the Town. The girl's eyes widened, her hands clasped together, and she was screaming madly in her heart. The Zhang family gun, only fast cannot be broken. You can really see after images. The last move was put away. Si put away his lazy expression, and finally exerted force on his hands. Boom! Boom! Several evolutionaries all fell to the ground and fell to the ground. Si stepped on the chest of an evolutionary person, and the tip of the iron rod pressed against his throat, slowly approaching. Why, after you can't use the ability of the evolutionary person, it's useless. Hearing this sentence, the evolutionary glared angrily, he clenched his fingers, and the veins on his arms jumped violently. Don't be complacent. Then you use it. I fucking let out a low laugh. Let's see if my hands are fast, or your ability is fast. Crack. The iron rod moved forward again, the tip glowing with a cold light, and it was only one step away from cutting his throat. The evolver's pupils shrank suddenly, and cold sweat broke out on his forehead. He couldn't help but shouted, "No! There are indeed evolutionaries who can defend against bullets, knives, and guns, and there is a mentor in Eternal Academy who can convert his body tissue into some kind of alloy-like substance in exchange for super defense. But this is the ability of the top evolutionary, he does not. There is also an insurmountable gap between A-level evolutionaries." The tip stopped just a millimeter from his eyeball. His heart was already in his throat, and he nearly fainted. I fucking withdrew his hand and said lightly, "Go away." The evolutionary ran back to the middle-aged man, his clothes already soaked in cold sweat. The expression of the middle-aged man was extremely ugly. After all, this is the Great Xia Empire, and the Evolutionary Alliance and the Supernatural Administration have set regulations. Evolvers above B rank are not allowed to use their abilities without permission. The Great Xia Empire is a very mysterious place, perhaps because there are 5 dragon veins guarding it. Those who do it in Great Xia can never get much benefit. Miss Si, this matter is obviously a double-edged sword. Why are you so stubborn? The middle-aged man looked sharply. Have you never left the Great Xia Empire in your life? Si fucking narrowed his eyes and suddenly raised his hand. SHH. The iron bar let go, and the sharp side went straight towards the middle-aged man. Boom. The iron rod was stuck on the ground, the middle-aged man's legs were weak, and the whole person was paralyzed, and there was only a look of horror on his face. Si fucking clapped his hands and smiled slightly. What a waste. Evolvers who only rely on the abilities of the evolvers are not as good as ordinary people. And the members of the Eternal Academy can still burst out with super combat power when they don't use their abilities. This is also the evolutionary who came out of the Eternal Academy, and it is not the reason why other evolutionary people can compare. Say it again. Si fucking suddenly stopped smiling, his eyes were cold. Go away. The middle-aged man was supported by 2 evolutionaries and stood up. A group of people fled in embarrassment and quickly disappeared. The surrounding is quiet again. Si Fu snorted. If she is in the central city of the Evolution Alliance now, she can directly send these people to see God. But in front of fans, she still needs to pay attention to her image. Si fucking stepped forward to pick up the iron rod and put it back in place. When she looked back and saw that the girl was still in a daze, she raised her eyebrows and shook her hand. I'm back to my senses. The girl blushed with excitement. She stammered, King Bao, you drove them all away. Well, they are all bad people. Si fucking nodded. If you dare to come again, it will not be so easy to run away. The girl covered her face and managed to calm down for a long time. She squeezed, King Bao, do you have any plans after filming Light? What other plans are there in the future? Si fucking thought about it. I signed a new variety show with Daxiatai. If there is a suitable script next year, I will continue to make movies. A good film and television drama is the result of many efforts. If there is no suitable director and script, she would rather rest more than take bad dramas. At present, the scripts in Sang Yanking's hands have piled up into a mountain, and even a few investors have increased her salary to a terrifying level, and she can exchange a lot of rations for Xiaobai, but she still refuses. Wow, I will definitely watch it. The girl suddenly thought of a crucial question again, pitifully, King Bao, you won't quit the circle, will you? Before that, she could still firmly believe that Si fucking would not quit the circle. But after seeing SI fucking's real skills today, she was really worried about which day a helicopter would pick him up to perform some mysterious mission. Retire, SI Fu tilted his eyelashes down, with you here, I won't leave this time. This time? The girl was stunned. Okay, it's getting late, are you still a student? SI fucking flicked his fingers on her forehead, go home early, don't see me next time, just follow, in case something happens. What should I do? You must focus on your own safety, and you must have the ability to make subjective judgments, you know. The girl hesitated for a moment, then nodded, but you won't hurt me. SI fucking glanced at him lightly, next time you say I'm cute, I'll hurt you. Girl. Such a goddess is also very cute, what should I do? A good idol to the end, little boy, I'll give you a ride. SI fucking put on his hat again, let's go. She sent the girl to the nearest station, and after confirming that those people would not turn back, she left. The girl hadn't completely calmed down until she got in the car. She took out her phone, her fingers trembling when she posted. At Ching Ching is a little angel, Ching Ching is really good, I ran into her today, and she not only invited me to dinner, but also demonstrated Jiang's gun, woohoo woo, why is she so good? After this post appeared in Kaihua, the comments exploded instantly. What luck do you have? Are you playing a spear face to face, damn it, why wasn't I the one who met the goddess? Draw your sword, rival in love, either you die or I die today. Whoever cried with envy, it was me who cried with envy. I'm going to walk around the street to see if I can meet my wife by chance, and I can get a signed photo. After the girl responded to a few comments with satisfaction, she was more determined in her heart. She will always love SI fucking. Such an immortal idol cannot be found even with a lantern. In the evening, the Lotbar family. The middle-aged man knelt on the ground, not daring to look up at Marquis Clavier's face. It's just trash, Marquis Clavier said coldly, a dozen of you can't even catch a little girl. The middle-aged man argued, His Royal Highness, in Daxia we dare not use the ability of the evolutionary, this is. Marquis Clavier did not listen to his explanation, the problem now is that I want her people to come. SI fucking is really not good at filming in the Daxia Empire. His Royal Highness on the side, the advisor suddenly said, His Royal Highness might as well let the young master marry this Miss SI, in this way, there is no need to pay for it. Marquis Clavier frowned, let will marry her. In his mind, the black swan Augilia is the one most worthy of his son. SI fucking was still too far behind.